Rogan retracts wildfire arrests, citation, thoughts, question mark. He had, you probably know more about this story than I do.
Yeah. He, in his podcast with Douglas Murray, he had said that there had been arrests of protesters who had set fires. Now, I believe that what actually happened is ambiguous. There is at least one instance of a fire that was quickly put out by civilians, I think, that was started by fireworks in the context of, or at least plausibly linked to protesters. But let's just say that what we were complaining about on our last live stream was that we don't have a trustworthy mechanism for determining whether or not, certainly the pattern that you revealed of the smoke being right up and down the 5 suggests some sort of anthropogenic process.
Let me just say, incidentally, with regard to that, 2 things. Upon looking at that again, so this, again, is something we talked about in episode 45, and I showed these fires all starting on September 8th, just in this line, this north-south line in Oregon and up into Washington. I think that was farther east than the 5, but the fact that it was a line makes it look anthropogenic, very much so. That said, and actually I got a question, I think, over email that caused me to remind me that, of course, one of the other anthropogenic but not intentionally nasty sources of fire is power lines. And in fact, in some places where the winds were picking up, preemptively the power grids got shut down so that there wouldn't be fires started. That might have been along another road. I think it was not actually the 5, but it might have been along another road, which probably would make more sense anyway, because the 5's by far the biggest interstate, the busiest one. But it might also have been that high wind event and a bunch of power lines banging together, doing whatever it is that they do in wind that causes sparks and causes fires.
Sure. There's also elevational stuff. So to the extent that you have a line, every so often if you fly into the Pacific Northwest, you notice that you have volcanoes sticking up in a line in the Cascades. And that obviously impacts weather. And you could have a phenomenon where lightning was accompanying some weather system passing through that.
Oh, that's interesting.
Elevational change. I don't think
a
that happened,
non-anthropogenic reason for a line. Okay,
right. But anyway, so I don't think we know how these fires started in many cases.
In a few cases we do, though.
We do know in a few cases. We do know, I don't know that it has anything to do with the protest, but there's very conspicuous stuff surrounding the fire down in Medford, Southern Oregon.
Yep.
So anyway, Rogan clearly got it wrong. He followed some wrong information that suggested that we knew more than we actually know, and he did the right thing, which is he retracted it. He put up an Instagram post, which I tweeted. I said, this is what an honorable person does when they discover that they've made an important mistake. And so anyway, I thought it was a good model. But, people, of course, are going to take it to be evidence of, some problem with Rogan. On the other hand,
no, it's evidence of, it's evidence quite to the contrary.
Right.
In fact,
he's a fundamentally decent guy, and he puts out so many hours of content across so many different topics that it's surprising how rarely he needs to do something like this. Right. So anyway.
Very much so.